What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Now, I've actually been putting off on making this video for a little bit of time now. I was initially going to make my market prediction in January on what the spring market was going to look like, but I'm really glad I waited because November, December, January, and I'd say up until the middle part of February were still really volatile months for the Ontario real estate market as a whole. But the statistics we're going to talk about today and the trends that we're seeing now, I think they're going to be trends that we are going to continue seeing into the spring market in the future, making this prediction hopefully a little more accurate. So here it is, my Ontario 2021 real estate market prediction. Now, I will be honest here. If you asked me a couple weeks ago exactly what I thought the spring market was going to look like, I would have told you that it was going to be even crazier than it is now. We're talking even bigger lineups, even more offers, even more buyers out there looking, fighting against each other. But new data has come out that has made me change my mind, and I honestly think that this is more likely the direction that the market is going to take. So in this video, we are going to talk about what the spring market is going to look like. In my opinion, are prices going to drop? Consumer confidence in the market, which was a huge aspect in my previous video as to why the market came up to such highs as it did this time. And then finally, as a buyer or a seller, what might be the best plan of action for you? And really quickly, before we jump into it, if you're new here, what's up? My name's Andre. I'm a real estate agent here in Ontario, servicing Barrie and the Simcoe area. And on this channel, I make real estate related videos. So check them out if you like this one. Also drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts on this video. My prediction for the Ontario 2021 real estate market is that it will cool off. It's very, very unlikely that it turns into a buyer's market, but I think this extreme seller's market is definitely going to soften and become balanced out in certain price ranges and certain sub-markets and areas. I think going forward, we are still going to continue seeing multiple offers and presentation dates, but since there is going to be much more inventory and a lot less competition, I think maybe 10 plus offers will be a lot less common, and properties will likely still be selling for over asking price, but it's not going to be crazy numbers like 50, 75, 100, or even 200,000 over asking. And to build off of that, I do think we're going to start seeing less properties being severely underlisted, between $150,000 to $300,000 under market value, because as competition and inventory evens the market out, that strategy is not going to be as effective as it once was. So I do think we're going to start seeing less of that. Beneficial to the buyers mainly, obviously, so they kind of have a better perspective of what properties might be going for, but also for sellers as well, because then we're going to get more accurate results of what properties are worth. I do believe that there's still going to be a lot of urgency to see a property kind of as soon as it's listed, but there's going to be a little more downtime where you don't have to go see it within the first hour. Maybe you can go in the evening or the day after. To tie it up here, and depending on the extent of how much this market kind of cools off, I think preemptives are going to be very, very prominent in most listings going forward. Obviously, we had presentation dates where there are no preemptive offers allowed, only offers on the presentation date, because you can just, get an insane amount of interest and a high number of offers doing that. But going forward, I think as competition evens out, preemptives are going to be the new big thing, where we are going to see presentation dates, but a lot of properties are going to have preemptive offers acceptable in the schedules and the descriptions, and I think a lot of properties will actually be selling prior to the presentation dates because of this. So again, still going to be an urgency to go see them, but we're definitely gonna have to see. That is what the spring market is going to look like, in my opinion, in terms of offer, presentation dates going forward, competition, things like that. Now, with regards to prices, I do not think prices will fall. I think that their extreme growth is definitely going to slow down and taper off. Again, might even balance out, but very unlikely that we're going to see a price drop come this spring market. I'll try and put like a chart here, but if we put like April 2020, then the prices went like this, but I think going forward to the spring market, it's definitely gonna taper off and balance out. Maybe still continue rising, but definitely not at the extreme rate that it's been going. But again, very, very unlikely that prices are going to start taking a dip. Let's talk about where I'm getting my numbers from and my background for making these predictions. Every single day, I check this single statistic. I just make sure to do it every morning. There's nothing too in-depth, but basically this statistic shows me, it's a little chart in the MLS system that tells you how many new listings have hit the market in 3 days, 7 days, 24 hours, whatever it might be, and how many listings have gone sold firm and have been taken off the market. Now, I check this every single day, and in March 2020, it was 40 new listings on the market. Well, sorry, it was 5 new listings on the market, 1 listing sold. Then we hit November 2020, where it was 5 new listings on the market and 10 listings sold. And that's kind of when things started going crazy, and this statistic inverted and it became a hardcore seller's market. And now since January 24th, we are slowly seeing that inversion happening again, where we're not quite there yet. For like say 20 new listings that hit the market, there's 22 sold, but it's really catching up to it and they're still slow on the ground. We haven't even hit the spring market yet. When the grass starts going green and it gets a little warmer out, that's when we generally see a huge flood of new listings in the market. And in my opinion, this is gonna be enough to satisfy the buyer demand out there. Just looking at this quick, simple statistic every single day shows that there is consumer confidence in the market and that it's very likely going to come in an even bigger wave come springtime, because, you know, buyers are confident they can buy, sellers are confident they can sell. It feels like we've already been through the worst of it in terms of, you know, living through March 2020 and, you know, with the whole pandemic starting, and now reaching the first spring time, the first spring market with COVID. As things have kind of normalized, I think that confidence is going to come back in an even bigger wave, especially for the sellers that have been holding off to sell because of the situation going on. I think now they're going to be ready to list this spring. If you are waiting for prices to drop, I sadly don't think this year is going to be the year, but I could be wrong. I don't know for sure, but looking the way it is, I don't think it's gonna happen. In addition to that, last year there was a lot of negative news from the CMHC and newspapers saying that we're gonna see a crazy price drop. We're not gonna be able to rebound till 2023 or 2025. That news has kind of died down and we're not seeing that anymore because statistics are showing something completely different. And although it's not completely tangible, but I do think that's adding a lot of consumer confidence back into the market, and again, especially for sellers who have been waiting to list. And to tie it up with consumer confidence, obviously a big mentality before COVID was that if I don't buy a property now, I will never be able to buy a property. And then obviously COVID happened and we are at that same state again where it's even more amplified for a lot of buyers, where they think that if they don't buy a property this year, they'll never be able to buy a property. To hopefully tie that up so it makes sense, consumer confidence in the market is good. We're gonna see buyers continuing to buy. We're gonna see more sellers coming to the market. Interest rates are staying low, so prices are not going to drop. And again, with that new inventory coming, we are going to see that competition even and balance out. Now for sellers, does that mean that you should sell now because you're not gonna be able to get a good of a price as you might in the future because the market's gonna cool off? The answer to that really depends on your specific situation. In my opinion, if you're a seller that's looking to sell and purchase, maybe upgrade, downgrade, move to another city, then it really doesn't make that big of a difference because the spread of you listing now or listing, you know, in a couple months from now might be minimal. But keep in mind that if you are selling and you need to buy, you know, then you're also stepping into that other market. And the benefit here is that since there is more competition for listings, you can ask for an extended closing date, maybe 90 to 100 days, maybe a little longer, and then have the opportunity to have, you know, a good amount of time searching and potentially even capitalize on the market if it starts to cool down. And for those sellers that maybe weren't planning on moving for a couple years but got really excited because the market was doing so well and everything was selling over asking price, I'd say it's totally your call. In 4 to 5 years, there's a very good chance that the property will be worth more than it is today. And even though you might be able to sell for, you know, an incredible amount over asking, is that going to be higher than what the price of the home will be in 5 years? There's a small chance because real estate generally appreciates, you know, 5% a year. So there's a really good chance that it's gonna be relative. So if you wanna do it, then do it. If you don't wanna do it and you're happy to stay there, then you might as well stay there. You know, maybe even see if the market balances out and see where it goes. With regards to buyers, should you wait or should you continue looking to purchase a property right now? It's also a tough call because yes, if the market cools off, you're gonna be in less competition for properties in the future. However, I strongly believe that between purchasing a property today and purchasing that same exact property a couple months from now, it's likely going to be a very similar price. It might be incrementally more, it might be incrementally less, but I do think that you should purchase a property now because as the saying goes, don't wait to buy real estate and wait. To sum it up, I do think the market will cool off, but as to what you can specifically do in each situation, just focus on buying a good property in a good neighborhood and holding it for a number amount of years. Because again, this is the first real spring market that we're seeing with COVID being the new reality. We don't really have much data on it to see, you know, how everything's gonna react and how everything's gonna play out. So buy a good property in a good neighborhood, plan to hold it for a couple years, and as seasons go forward, we'll be able to come up with that data, and then we can kind of start looking again as to what would be the best way to time the real estate market to capitalize on buying and capitalize on selling but I don't think this spring market is gonna be that time. Thank you so much for watching. Again, leave a comment down below and let me know if you agree or disagree, and I will see you next week, Friday at 7.